Hi, I'm Kevin Gallagher, Technical Marketing Engineer with F5, and I'm here to show you how to integrate SSL Orchestrator with the CheckPoint Firewall virtual machine as a transparent proxy. This demo assumes we have SSL Orchestrator configured with topology and service chain, and for this we are using F5 Big IP version 17.1, SSL Orchestrator version 11, CheckPoint Gaia R81.2, and CheckPoint SmartConsole version 81.20. And again, CheckPoint will be configured as a transparent proxy. So let's start with the VMware ESX configuration. You'll want to create 4 port groups. This right here is network south and network north, and that represents connectivity to the north of the big IP and to the south of the big IP. On the south side is a client computer for testing, and on the north side is a Windows server also for testing. And you'll notice these are all in the same CheckPoint virtual switch. And then I also have a port group here for the ingress and egress. So that is connectivity from the big IP to the CheckPoint Firewall, and from the CheckPoint Firewall back to the big IP. Now we'll want to configure the big IP network settings as follows. I've got the VM network, which is used for management, and I have network north and network south for connectivity to the north and south, and then the CheckPoint egress and ingress for connectivity to and from the CheckPoint. Now let's review the CheckPoint firewall settings. You can see here we have that VM network again for management, and we have the CheckPoint egress and CheckPoint ingress used for connectivity from the big IP to the CheckPoint and vice versa. The other network adapters are not actually used in this example. So let's review the CheckPoint configuration. Using your web browser, you'll want to go over here to the Gaia interface or portal, and then come over to network interfaces. And in this example here, ETH0 is being used for management, and ETH1 and 2 are used for connections from the big IP, and that has an IP address of 10.0.0.5, and then ETH2 is for connections from the CheckPoint Firewall back to the big IP, and that IP address is 10.1.1.5. You may need to add a static route so that the CheckPoint knows how to, so the CheckPoint Firewall knows how to essentially connect out of the network, how to get out to the internet. In this case, it's a closed network configuration, so I just added a route here, letting it know where basically the web server IP address is out of the interface with the 10.1.1 address. All right, so with that done, you want to log into the SmartConsole, and we'll be configuring Firewall 1 in this example. Now, we created a simple NAT policy here by simply checking this box, and then you basically OK your way out. And if we go again back in here, we'll check the network management, and you can see it has the interfaces configured here. Normally you would choose, if you're doing this for the first time, get interfaces with topology, and it'll show you what the topology looks like. And so you can go ahead and click accept and then OK. What I'm going to do is show you the settings that you might need on these interfaces here. You can see this is the 10.0.0.5. if we click modify, you can see that I have this set to internal, to an internal topology. And you may need to do something exactly like that to get this configured properly. Now for the other interface, in my case, I have it marked as internet or external here. And you can just use that right there. So after done, you'd be making changes, obviously. You want to click on Publish here at the top. Now when that's done, you'll want to review the security policies. So here I have this default cleanup rule. Normally it's set to drop, and I have it set to accept. This is not a normal or secure firewall type policy, but in this case we're in a closed network, and so we're just using this as an example. If you remember that checkbox I used to enable NAT, that's all that's really required to do simple NAT, but if you wanted to do something more granular, you can configure that policy here. Now typically when you are done making all these changes, you would click the Publish button and then click an Install Policy, and that will give you a way to install the policy. In this case I'm only installing it on the single firewall number 1. Now let's review some of the big IP settings. We'll go over here to Network and then VLANs. And you can see here I have 4 VLANs configured very much like what you saw in the VMware settings. I've got an egress interface for connections from the big IP to the checkpoint, an ingress interface or VLAN for connections from the checkpoint to the big IP, and then I have the network north and network south for connectivity to the north and south of the big IP. Now you'll want to create some self IP addresses. In this case I have 10.0.0.1 configured for the egress VLAN and 10.1.1 for the ingress VLAN. So let's go ahead and create the CheckPoint Firewall service. I'll go over here to inline HTTP, do a generic HTTP service. I'm going to call it CheckPoint. And uncheck the auto manage addresses here. And in this case, it's going to be a transparent proxy. And then if we choose the option here for use existing to the service, that is 10.0.0.1 or egress. And now we'll add the IP address of the checkpoint here. And then we also use existing. This time we'll choose 10.1.1.1, which is the ingress. Enable the port remap, and you can optionally enable automap here. What you want to do is make sure to add it to the service chain. Click this to add it over there. And then deploy. So when done, it should look like this, hopefully with the checkpoint showing up in green. We go over to services. You can see here that it shows up as healthy. So now we'll go ahead and test the configuration. I'll go to the client computer. Go ahead and reload this so you can see that that's working. Alright, so we're able to connect through the big IP. So that looks good. Let's go back to the SmartConsole. and see what it looks like from that perspective. Okay, so if I go over to logs and monitor, okay, so what we're looking for is something like this. From 10.0.0.1 to the destination 192.168.0.5. And this shows up as HTTP TCP port 80. If we drill down into this, you get more information. And we can see that this is clearly decrypted HTTP traffic, or HTTPS traffic, but delivered as HTTP for the checkpoint to do its analysis. So at this point, the configuration is complete. Any connections that pass through the SSL Orchestrator to the web server will be decrypted and sent over to Checkpoint for analysis. Thank you for taking the time to view this. Have a good day.